Hello, and welcome to Real Menopause Talk, a bonus episode, and a bonus episode with a cause. I'm joined by two women from opposite sides of the globe this evening who share a passion for supporting women's health, especially peri to post-menopause. Before I introduce them, I would just like to say a quick thank you to our sponsor, Cozy Earth, creators of super soft, smooth, temperature-regulated loungewear, socks, towels and bed linen, all of which will no doubt come in very handy by the end of this episode. So go to cozyearth.com, use code MENOPAUSE for 35% off, and listen in to find out why. So my two guests today are Nathalie Bonafé, who is a self-proclaimed research scientist gone rogue. She holds a PhD in philosophy, molecular biology and biochemistry, and currently specialises in women's health and end-of-life transition. She has a warmth and generosity of spirit that is deeply evident and clearly serves her incredibly well in the work that she does. Sallyanne Brady runs the Irish Menopause. Having had a dark and challenging perimenopause herself, she set it up because she knew she couldn't be the only one feeling this way. It is now the number one support in Ireland for women experiencing perimenopause and beyond. It is abundantly clear how much she cares by the passion she conveys when she talks about menopause. Nathalie and Sallyanne, it is a great pleasure to meet you both and have you on the podcast this evening. I would love to hear from both of you a little bit about yourselves and your backgrounds, where you live, maybe family life, and then we'll launch into more of why we're here to talk today. Nathalie, would you like to kick off?
Sure, I would. Oh, thank you so much, Hattie and Sallyanne, for having me today. I'm talking to you from New Haven, Connecticut, in the United States, where I'm based. And I've lived longer in the United States than I've lived in France. Don't tell my mother, please. So who am I? But that's a good question. One time someone called me a research scientist gone rogue. Yeah, I think it's pretty much who I am. I think it describes me pretty well. So what do I do now? I'm after 25 years in biomedical research, so in the lab and behind the scene, I now have a private practice, women's health advocate and coach, holistic, non-medical, specializing in menopause and end-of-life transitions. So that's me. And when I decided to raise awareness in my own corner of the world, so I reached out to Rachel Weiss in Scotland, and I decided to host the menopause cafes here in Connecticut. So I've been hosting those cafes for 2.5 years now, and it's really to break the taboos, and they're just discussions between total strangers, just online. Please refer to the website menopausecafe.net if you want more information. But the cafes are just really beautiful spaces where strangers drink tea and talk about anything menopause. And we tend to connect at a very deep level while having fun. I mean, it's super fun. But we also discuss about taboos. And that's where I met Michelle Smith, Diana Contreras, and Laura Getz. And that's when Stride by Side was born. Today, we are very excited because, months of work, and we are launching this exciting global virtual menopause walk with incredible partners like you, Sallyanne, from the Irish Menopause Hub, and you, Hattie, for your wonderful podcast.
I can't wait to hear more about Stride by Side and the menopause walk that you're doing and how it's going to work virtually and globally. And the key is that everybody can get involved. So looking forward to that. First of all, Sallyanne, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Hi, Hattie, and thank you very much. And it's wonderful to be here with yourself and with Nathalie. And it was great to hear Nathalie's background. So who am I? As I always say, I'm not anybody. I'm an ordinary woman, and my background was in the facilities industry, nothing at all related to menopause or anything. When I was in my mid-ish 30s, I started to get different symptoms that were unexplained, which escalated month on month and year on year. And by the time I was 39-ish, I was completely unhinged, to be very honest. I was in a right mess. I knew myself this was hormonal. However, every doctor I went to was, no, you're too young, you're still getting periods, etc. Mm-hmm. And to cut a very long story short, my journey became an awful lot worse. It became quite dark. And it was, I became in the zone of wanting to end my own life. It got serious. However, I did meet a doctor who saved me pretty much with hormones and stuff. And from that moment, I became better so quickly. I realized something very missing here in society. If it's this easily fixed, why did I not know this? And why does nobody else know this? And I can't be the only woman in Ireland. I'm based in Dublin, in Ireland, who has felt this way. So in the meantime, I had met a wonderful lady, Claire. And myself and Claire set up the Irish Menopause as a Facebook group. And we thought, if we can help people, just as a private space for people to talk or compare symptoms or to complain or whatever. And that was 3.5 years ago. And myself and Claire, the two women, have now become just nearly 44,000. And the Irish Menopause, I think, at this point has become probably nearly a household name in terms of menopause. And it's a great community. The women are amazing. They are so supportive of one another, a little bit like what Nathalie is doing as well. I think when women get together, wonderful things happen. Mm-hmm. And it's just a safe space, 24 hours a day, where you can vent, where you can ask questions, because as we know, there's not a lot out there in terms of support for menopause or people to ask. So that's what I'm all about. That's what I do. There was no great plan in the initial stages of, we want to change the world. We just wanted to help. And as we said, if we can help one woman or save one life, we're happy. And it has turned into something huge, and we love every minute of it.
44,000 people is really quite a significant reach. So that is fantastic.
And it is for Ireland, Hattie. Yeah, we're very small,
I have no doubt, though, that is... It's not just the number, it's the value, the fact that you will have saved more than one life, because learning about this through other guests I've had and in general, you do realize that perimenopause is not something to be taken lightly. We can talk about it lightly, we can laugh about it, absolutely. My God, we need to some days. But it does have its darker side that needs to be acknowledged so that people do take it seriously, which possibly leads us on to what you're doing and why. Who would like to talk about the walk?
I'll just say a little bit, and then Nathalie, you can jump in. I had Michelle, the lady who came up with this wonderful idea, Michelle Smith. I had met Michelle virtually via actually our community here in Ireland, believe it or not. And I thought it was the best idea I had heard. We had thought of similar type things, but just thought this could never happen. So it was music to our ears. And Nathalie can fill us in more, but this idea is amazing, and it's global. It's not just local. People in different countries are going to participate. And the aim of this is obviously awareness globally, and also money to be raised for research, because as we know, nobody is bothering to research anything to do with menopause, because the whole female health thing is an issue. And I think women haven't shouted loud enough for long enough, and now we're here and we're shouting. So Nathalie, you can tell us more about the walk.
Well, it's pretty much what it was. I mean, it was Michelle who came to the cafe one day, and she had been coming for quite some time. And she started saying, let's, I have this wonderful idea. I want to do a walk in New York City. And it was still during the pandemic. I mean, not that we are over. And I was kind of a little bit careful about this. And so, she did what she had to do. She contacted, Laura and Diana, started to, the three of them started to work together and come up with logos. And then it kind of evolved into a virtual event, which in this case, I felt a lot safer. So that was it. I mean, switching it to virtual, so already in the United States, and making it global, that hit me. I mean, that hit me, and I was on fire. I was on fire because this is how I like to work. This is what excites me. This is what makes me wake up. And working with them and then working, with Sallyanne and the other team players, the other partners, it's just all incredible and picked with care. We work with really like-minded, mostly women, and that is so exciting. This synergy between us started with an idea, and together we made it happen. And it's raising money for research and awareness. This is key. We need to understand more about what's happening to our bodies. And we need to be able to spread that information. So it needs to be published. And for that, as a former researcher myself, it costs a lot of money and time. And we don't want it for our grandchildren. Yes, we want it for our grandchildren, but we want it for us and for the generation of our children.
You're dead right,
Nathalie. We want it now.
Yeah. And we're passionate about this, the Irish menopause. We aim to be, we're not medical ourselves, but evidence-based, because there's a lot of nonsense out there. And exactly like Nathalie said, we want this on paper, because all the evidence for certain things is anecdotal or, it's crazy. We want this on paper. There's been no research done into testosterone for women with the link with hormones, menopause and Alzheimer's. So, this has got to be done. And as Nathalie said, we want it for us. However, this is really going to be for the future kids. This is for our daughters, because any big changes take a long time and they take generations, really. So, somebody has to do something now, and we want to be part of that because we are passionate about it. We all are. And as Nathalie said, we're like-minded and we all care about ourselves. We care about other women, and we care about what's going on in women's health globally, and it needs to stop.
I agree. And the issue itself is global. Just speaking to you now, so I'm in the UK, Nathalie, you're in the US, and then Sallyanne, you're in Ireland. I've spoken to women in other parts of Europe and Australia and South Africa, just for example. And it's the same. Women's health needs a lot more attention than it has had. So which are the charities that you are raising money for? What kind of research specifically?
For this side, I have, I'm going to be working with the Menopause Hub here in Dublin. And the Menopause Hub are basically the first private dedicated menopause clinic in Ireland. And what we are passionate about, the two of us, is testosterone for women. Because every woman who takes testosterone absolutely loves it. They all say the same thing. I have my brain back, I have my libido back, I have my motivation back, but there's nothing on paper. The position statement right now is just saying it's for libido. And it's so much bigger than that, but we need it on paper. So we are going to raise funding this side for testosterone research. And Nathalie, for the United States?
Yes, on this side, especially in New York City, we have the team of the Women's Health Initiative. So particularly the team of Dr. Lisa Mosconi, the neuroscientist and nutritionist, who is leading a big team of researchers understanding, women's brain and how it ages and how it changes and then can beautifully adapt to the change in hormone variation throughout the transition. And we just need more research. 2 out of 3 people are actually female who have Alzheimer's. I've seen that with elderly patients that I help through at the end of life. This is not right. We're missing information. There is link with bone density, with gut health. Everything is connected. So in the United States, we're going to focus with Women's Brain Initiative with Dr. Mosconi, and also this nonprofit organization who is spreading the word, Let's Talk Menopause, also based in New York City.
How do people get involved?
So there is a link that we're going to give you at the end from the charity footprint with where to register, how much it costs. So basically, this is a fundraiser. This is about $25 per person to enter the challenge. It's 50,000 steps in 31 days, which is almost a marathon. And people can walk, bicycle, garden, vacuum their house, create a team or be alone, even just go on the sidewalk with their wheelchair. So this is let's move together. Let's all move together all over the world.
Stride by side, Nathalie, yeah. And we love the number between all of us. The 50,000 steps is approximately a marathon. 50 is approximately the age of menopause. 50 is the approximate half the population. There's a lot of 50s involved here. And this is why that was chosen. It's very, very relevant. But as Nathalie said, any form of movement, but you've got the whole month to do your 50,000, and it's for an excellent cause, and it's for the future females. I think it's brilliant.
I think it's going to be a lot of fun. I remember the Women's March in Washington, D.C. a few years back. That was very, very, very powerful. To be in the space, for this time it's going to be virtual, of course, but to be in that space with that many women or, partners, supporters, because it's not just for women. The money is going to be for women's research, women's health research. But, menopause happens to people. Mm-hmm. So Michelle and I are going to go to the New Haven Pride in the middle of the month. And we're going to talk about people who might be going through menopause and don't necessarily identify with women. So we're very mindful about it. I think it's going to be very, very powerful.
Well, like you said, when women come together, wonderful things happen. And yes, we do need to include other people in that as well. It is very much a team effort. And I love the fact that it is so accessible. So if you have a wearable device, for example, that measures your steps, that is how you achieve your 50,000 steps. It's not that you have to walk or run or do a specific exercise. It is literally just movement. And throughout the whole month, so you can take it easy. Presumably you can go absolutely hell for leather and do it in a day, should you wish. But the fact that everybody can do it globally together. And then how do you celebrate everybody's successes?
We're going to have all the links at the end of this podcast. But for example, what I think is wonderful, Hattie, is the website that you're going to register with. You can track yourself and see how many steps you've done. And you can also do location. And some of it, like in our community over here, we will have, grouping county by county, for example, in Ireland, and you'll be able to see. And it's up to the individuals. Do they want to set up their own subgroups and make it a big march, or do they want to just do it themselves on their own? It's very, very inclusive. It includes everybody. And as you say, you can have your wearable device, you can log on, and, people can have their own little bit of fun if they have a competitive streak as well. It would be fun.
I think it has the potential to, yes, it's global, but it has the potential to really create new communities everywhere in the world. Hey, I'm riding with my other friends and they're bringing other friends and they're going to create their own little communities in their backyards. And they're going to be able to celebrate together. And I believe we also have, as part of the team on the website, is going to be like a little sticker to say, hey, I completed I helped raise money for, I think we're going to have that, some people who are very competitive and also who like to go to races, like this. We won't have medals, but there will be some little things. When I see that in my menopause cafes, whether it's in person or online, the feeling that we get, it's already a form of celebration. Connecting like that, it's going to be magical.
I have no doubt that it will. And a great way to mark and celebrate International Menopause Day on October the 18th. We have a march here in London, which I hope will be filled with amazing women. I expect it will. So perhaps there's a link there. I've got a group of friends who do cold water swimming, not my thing, but it is theirs. And they're keen to make this a competitive thing between themselves as well. So another form of movement for them.
That's amazing,
Very
and
cool.
There's so much achieved from this. And anybody listens to share the link anywhere, in work, at home, on your own social media. You don't need to be an influencer or have a huge following. Anybody. It's for such a good cause. It's for your daughter.
Unifying the women of the world, the people of the world for this particular cause is always going to be a positive thing. And I do find that the subject of perimenopause and menopause is a great unifying purpose. And it has community. The community, even that I've found on Instagram, is just phenomenal and always warm and caring. So the research behind it, the actions people take, it's all going to make a big difference. If there were one thing that you could change, each of you, about menopause, that hopefully what you're doing with Stride by Side could achieve, what would it be?
I think perhaps Nathalie might agree with me. Research. We can't do anything without it because guidelines exist and guidelines are based on data and the data's not there.
I think I agree with you. I mean, research is the key.
Thank you both so much for your time, and I look forward to watching this, getting involved in this. I will absolutely speak to you again and review or share celebrations or a brilliant story or something along those lines.
Of course. Thank you, Hattie.
That would be wonderful. Thank you, Hattie.
It has been a real pleasure to have a conversation, start a conversation that no doubt we can continue.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Hattie. Thank you.
I will leave all the details, both for Sallyanne and Nathalie, as well as the Menopause Walk for 2022 on the website, realmenopausetalk.com, in the show notes, and on Instagram and LinkedIn. So the website you need to visit to register is stridebyside.org. That's stridebyside.org. And registration is open from the 7th of September 2022, which is now. So it is open. Registration is open. Sign up. The donation is $25, although if you are able and willing to contribute more, then please feel free to do so. Then all you need to do is get your 50,000 steps in any way you choose during the month of October. Get the word out about this worldwide walk and team up with friends. Go for a swim, a dog walk, a yoga class, spin class, CrossFit, whatever makes you happy, and see where it takes you. If you need cozy loungewear for recovery after your exercise, you know where to go. CozyEarth.com for loungewear, socks, bed linen, and towels. Use code MENOPAUSE for a 35% discount and stay cozy and temperature regulated. Keep talking about the podcast. You're all wonderful. Share with everyone you know and stay tuned for more exciting upcoming events. Thank you for listening. I look forward to seeing you in the next episode.